Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to everyone's favorite show about plastic surgery, health, and beauty. This is Nip Talk. On today's episode, first off, is your doctor going to quit on you? It is a possibility. And then the 2025 plastic surgery trends, the new report's out. We go over it every year, and we're going to tell you what's hot. And then finally, giraffes and singing. Are these the secrets to better health? I'm going to tell you why they might be, and it's all coming up right now.
Live from Lincoln Center in the heart of the Dallas Metroplex, this is Nip Talk, an honest and uncensored show about plastic surgery, health, beauty, and lifestyle, with your host, plastic surgeon Dr. Bruce Hermann, and your co-host, entrepreneur and social media influencer Sarah Bennett. Now it's time to discuss the good, the bad, and the ugly of the topics everyone is talking about. It's time for Nip Talk.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Please hit that like and subscribe button and turn on those notifications. It helps us a ton. I'm your host, plastic surgeon Dr. Bruce Hermann, and with me is Sarah.
Hi.
I haven't seen you in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
How are you, Sarah?
Vacation. Good.
You doing good?
Rested.
You feel rested? No stress of the show last week? Got you all rested. Travis, what's a good word?
A good word, heat.
Heat? Oh, it's hot right now? Yeah.
It's hot outside.
I haven't noticed it. It hasn't gotten super hot yet, has it?
Yeah, I was just about to say that. It's not been
It's not been terrible. Well, all the rain. It's been like raining really bad here, and you know, and the floods and all that terrible stuff.
100%.
All right, so I missed you guys last week. I really hate when we don't get together, but of course, 4th of July obviously was precluding us from doing the show. But the last time we were here, we were all doing something cool on the weekend. Trey, you were doing some sort of acting, judging thing. How was that?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that was the last time we were here. It was 2 weeks ago.
It was an act off. It was actually really dope.
So did they all act the same thing?
No.
Oh, it was all different.
Yeah, it was all different.
It's like the improv thing.
Yeah, pretty much. They had like a scene that they all performed, and then at the end of it, I think the person who won like $1,500.
$1,500?
Yeah,
That's
they won
nice.
like $1,500. Yeah, and the guy who won, he actually lost his shoe at the club, at the spot that we were at.
He lost his shoe.
He lost his shoe, so he did.
So it may have been a losing venture for him, depending on how much that shoe cost.
He did a really good job, though.
So it was pretty cool, though, huh?
Yeah, it was. I'm supposed to be back on the 25th.
Oh, well, you're gonna be a repeat judge. You're like, it's like what's America's Got Talent or something like that.
Something like that.
Now, Sarah, what were you doing? You were doing something cool. I can't remember what it was.
I just went to like a little small town fireworks show.
Oh, how was
pretty
it?
cool. Yeah, it was good. And then we lit our own fireworks
Did you?
because we live in an area where you can.
Oh,
we
you
had
can?
Lit some
Yeah,
Roman
I'm glad you were
candles
safe
and
though,
stuff.
right? Because you know I was on call for the 4th of July.
Yeah.
I didn't get a call from you. I assume you're okay.
Yeah, we didn't do any like crazy fireworks, just like your typical things.
So I was on call the entire 4th of July. My family was out of town. They were visiting in-laws, and I was dreading it because 4th of July can be terrible for hand trauma. And I got one call, and that was it. It was totally dead. I think the rain definitely played a factor. You know, it's bad weather out. People aren't out, blowing stuff up as much. So
yeah, true.
So it was a good weekend for me, even though I just
is.
literally was sitting at my house, like waiting for something to happen, and it never did, which is kind of like a weird feeling. But
did you at least get some good barbecue?
I did. So a couple of my friends were barbecuing, so I went, but I didn't want to drink, so I was kind of like the dud of the party, right? So I rode my bike, because if I'm on my bike, I never drink when I'm on my bike, and so I got to ride the bike around, and I actually rode a few hundred miles over the weekend, just around the Metroplex in case I need to come back. Mm-hmm. I went out to Jacksboro. I'd never been out there before.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's really nice out there. It's really pretty. I've always wanted to maybe buy some land somewhere. And so Jacksboro's close, but it's kind of like hilly, and so I just was cruising around the town like
That's
a
cool.
bike hoodlum.
It is. That's dope.
It was pretty fun.
Adventure.
So, all right, let's jump into some segments. There was some good ones to go. I had a lot of good ones to pick from. I feel like doctors are like hairstylists, right? Have you ever lost a hairstylist? Trey, do you see a hairstylist or do you go to a barber?
I go to the barber.
You go to the barber, okay.
Yeah, I go to the barber.
Do you have a barber you like, though?
Oh, yeah, absolutely, 100%.
Okay, so it'd be bad if you lost that person?
100%.
Yeah.
I have to find somebody else.
I don't really cut my hair or dye it that much.
Oh, you don't? Okay.
I mean, I have highlights and stuff, but I usually always get it to where it looks like.
So you're not married to a stylist?
Yeah.
So
I don't really
have
care.
a stylist, and I really stress out when when they leave or whatever. And I imagine like doctors are kind of, I don't really go to the doctor, but I guess I would be sad if I
Like
had
your primary care doctor?
Yeah, I do have a primary care. I just don't go a lot. But I would be upset if they left. And oh crap, I gotta find one. So, you know, your doctor actually might be thinking about quitting. Like this is a serious thing. So we're doing a segment on, is your doctor going to quit? And that doctor looks like he is just really strung out and kind of burned out. Mm-hmm. So why are so many doctors burning out, retiring early, you know, leaving medicine? You know, I'm going to kind of break it down for you as to like what has changed, because, you know, historically being a physician was one of those things where people were like, oh, it's really amazing.
Like prestigious and stuff.
Yeah, it's prestigious. I think it still is sort of prestigious. But it's definitely changed a lot, and I think it's changed for the worse, and it is starting to affect, you know, physicians wanting to stay in medicine. And I've seen it personally. Not myself, like I don't want to necessarily leave medicine because I have a pretty good gig. I mean, of all the gigs, plastic surgery is a pretty good one. Probably definitely top few percent as far as just people being happy or whatever. But why are other docs unhappy? Well, one of the most important things I think is when I was a med student, so I'm like ancient these days, but I was a med student like in the late 90s. And
so old.
I know, I'm getting old. Like, I know I don't look it, but I'm practically on Medicare at this point. So, you know, back in the 90s, almost all doctors, so over 80% of doctors were self-employed. So they ran their own practice, and it was their own business, and they could set their own hours, and they didn't have people that were hounding them about TPS reports and regulations and this and that. And I remember distinctly thinking, I think being a doctor would be cool for many reasons, but one of them is I can be my own boss.
Yeah.
And I thought that was cool because my dad was his own boss in his business, and I was like, well, that would be pretty awesome. So now fast forward 25 years, and back then where over 80% of doctors were independent, self-employed, now over 80% are actually employed by either hospitals or big corporations.
Yeah.
So it's been a complete inverse of what it used to be. And of course, you know, I mean, you guys know working for corporations is not always a good thing.
Doesn't that have to do a lot with like health insurance crap?
It hugely does, Sarah. That's exactly right.
I learned that in graduate school.
That's exactly right. And I'll tell you why. Because
it's like so cumbersome.
If you are an individual, well, it's mostly about money, which is another thing we're going to talk about. But if you're an individual doctor, like one doctor, maybe a group of two doctors, and you apply for insurance for reimbursement for whatever it is you do, either seeing patients as a primary care doctor or doing procedures as a surgeon or scopes as a GI doctor or whatever, you get paid a lot less money if you're in a small group, which doesn't really seem fair to me. And I know it's true because I looked at what doctors in the hospital group where I have my office right next to get paid for the exact same procedure. And they get about 35% more if one of their docs do a procedure versus if I do it. Which means like if I get paid, you know, $200, they get paid $270. And so what that's done is it's really kind of almost forced doctors to band together in these big groups, or just forget about insurance entirely and become a hospital employee where, you know, you're not having to necessarily worry about that as much.
Yeah.
But the trade-off is you lose your autonomy. And so one of my business partners, the guy who owns, him and I own the medical building where we have our offices together. He was an employed physician with the hospital, doing a good job, you know, never had any problems whatsoever. And one day the hospital just decided, hey, we're not going to like employ this specialty anymore. He's a hand surgeon. Like, we just don't want to employ hand surgeons anymore, so we're not renewing your contract. And it's like, you know, he moved his family to the town. He kind of built inroads with all the doctors. And then suddenly the hospital's like, yeah, we don't want you anymore. And so he was lucky enough that he'd built up enough connections that he actually went from being an employed physician to now he is independent, which is tough to do. Like, I remember when he said he was going to do it, I was like, man, as someone who did that myself, like, it is very hard.
Yeah.
And he's done it, and he's done well. But, you know, you're right. To make a long story short, yes, you know, insurances are one of the reasons that.
But you don't have to deal with that much insurance because yours is
so
more
I
like.
don't, and that's why my life is so much easier than a lot of doctors.
Yeah,
because
way to go.
I
Good
still
choice.
do insurance. I was just telling somebody the
But
other
for like special things,
sort of. I mean, I still
like
get paid.
special situations.
So let me
you'd
just
have
tell
to
you,
do.
I can tell you this. I had to run my financials a couple years ago when I bought that building, and I had to actually look at where my money was coming from. And I had a pretty good idea, but I never kind of broke it down. So I do spend about half my time doing insurance stuff and half my time doing cosmetic, which is out of pocket, you know? So half my time is spent on one, half my time is spent on the other, but the money into my practice is over 90% from the cosmetic and less than 10% from the insurance. So, you know, just to show you that if you are dealing with insurance as a single, you know, physician, like you're getting paid nothing. Like it's almost not worth it for me to do insurance cases, but I do it as like a service to the community and, you know, to help people above like, you know, doing liposuction or whatever. Because I can do some, you know, pretty amazing surgeries for people. So we talked about money, declining reimbursement. Medicare has cut reimbursement by 26% since 2001, despite costs going through the roof.
Yeah.
So instead of, you know, increasing reimbursement every year, which is what they should be doing to match inflation,
Right.
they've decreased it 26% over the last 25 years. Private insurance companies routinely cut reimbursements, even though their premiums, what you have to pay as go up. So they're squeezing money out of the doctors. Malpractice is a minor issue, especially here in Texas, you know, and what I mean by that is the threat of being sued as a deterrent to doctors, you know, doing, you know, staying in medicine. It's totally specialty dependent, and it's also location dependent. It's actually pretty hard to sue doctors in Texas. One of my side gigs is actually do medical malpractice consulting for plaintiffs, and I can just tell you that it's not, you know, easy to get lawyers to take malpractice cases in Texas because of the caps and whatnot, which to a certain degree is good. You know, it's almost too restrictive in Texas, but other states are the total opposite, where anyone could be sued for like millions of dollars, and then it does become, you know, a pretty big stressor.
Scary.
It is. I mean, you know, because it's like you can do everything right. I mean, I was in a state where I did my training where you could sue residents, and so I was involved in 2 cases where I was just like the resident doing next to nothing, and I got named in a lawsuit, and I had to deal with that crap, you know, even though I had really no input in the patient care. Another one of the really big ones that's driving doctors away is the administrative burden and all the bureaucracy. So it's like corporate America got into medicine, and things that used to take 15 minutes take an hour. You know, there's a recent study came out that showed that doctors spend an average of 1 to 2 hours on paperwork for every actual 1 hour of patient care.
So crazy. I've written papers
insane.
about this. Like all of what you've talked about.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it is
For my
driving
classes.
people. It is driving people away. You know, EMRs, which are the electronic medical records, have also increased doctor unhappiness. So, how many people are actually quitting? Well, there is a projected physician shortage due to people leaving in the next decade of 124,000 doctors by 2034. So that basically amounts to about 12%, because there's about 1 million doctors, if I remember correctly, in the United States. 40% of doctors say they have plans to leave their current practice in the next 2 years due to burnout. Mostly, not all due to burnout, but mostly due to burnout. So what does that mean for patients if you lose your doctor? Well, if you lose one doctor, you could probably find another, but it does have kind of a trickle effect where if enough doctors quit, then suddenly the machine stops working.
Yeah, and then isn't there an issue with people wanting to be doctors anyways now? So it's like you're losing doctors, and then like there's like a decrease in...
I would say that there's still a ton of people that are applying for medical school, but one of the things that I think about is what is the quality of the applicants? Because historically, when, you know, being a physician was such a revered, you know, and potentially lucrative, you know, career path, you got like the best of the best going into they'll never have a problem filling medical schools, because there'll always be someone who wants to go. But I do think that there possibly could be what they call a brain drain, which means that because of changing in the profession, that, you know, the overall average of the applicants might be trending downward. Of course, that's hard to quantify, you know, year to year, because test metrics change so much.
Like, are you saying like people that apply that are thinking, I'm gonna be like a nice fancy doctor and like, you know, get more money, and so the people that have this idea that they're going to go to school, get a job, make so much money, aren't going to want to be a doctor because they can do that in another way without the hassle?
Right, because historically, like when you looked at the medical school applicants, like literally it was the top of the top.
Yeah,
Like
so
the
like-
absolute smartest people, hardest workers. And so,
Like they're going into more like computer
yeah,
sciences.
going
instead of-
engineering,
yeah,
you know,
instead of
something
being a
else
doctor.
where you don't accrue as much debt, you don't have as much bureaucracy, you can actually be your, own boss and start your
I
own
mean, yeah, being
thing.
a doctor is a lot of responsibility.
So there definitely is probably a brain drain happening. There's going to be longer wait times for appointments for sure. As the number of doctors decrease, it's going to take longer to get appointments. You're going to be increased use of mid-levels, so nurse practitioners and PAs.
PAs, yeah.
Have you seen NPs or PAs when you go to the doctor? Yeah, my wife, I have too actually. When I went to the primary care doctor once, I had to see one of the PAs.
My sister's an MP.
Is she? Yeah.
She does pretty
Mid-levels-
good.
Huh?
She makes pretty good money.
Yeah, they do make pretty good money. Yeah, they do. And with less, stress and responsibility, right? Because ultimately there's a doctor that's responsible for what they do.
Yes.
Yeah. So longer wait times, increased use of mid-levels, which I mean is fine. I always prefer to see the doctor because if the person I'm seeing has to answer to someone else, I feel like, well, why am I not seeing the person that they have to answer to? That's just my personal kind of feeling on it. And then probably what they'll end up doing is they'll have to import foreign medical grads. That'll be a bigger thing because there'll be doctors that want to come from other countries.
Yeah.
So they'll always be doctors. It's just are we degrading the overall quality because of this? Probably. So why is this happening now? Well, as you mentioned, the consolidation of healthcare corporations. Docs feel like they can't provide the best care, due to all the constraints, all the red tape. It is pretty bad. I mean, I don't have to deal with this much because I'm not an employee, but I do, get all the emails from the hospital, which I just erase. It's like, oh, now there's this new, policy where you have to do this and that. And I just kind of do my own thing.
You're like, not for me, delete.
Yeah, really. I am kind of like that.
Except whenever you have to when you're on call, I guess. Because you still kind of.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I'm really lucky because I'm a specialist and, it's sad to say, but if you can't be replaced easily, then you can ignore stuff more easily. If it's something stupid, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, there's been times where they had some new policy in the OR. I was like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. I was like, are you going to cancel my case? And they're like, well, no. I was like, okay, well, I'm not doing that.
And then real quick, we got some people checking in on
really?
Facebook and YouTube.
Oh, it's hopping today. Okay.
So
yeah, bring it. Let's hear it.
Kayla Renee says sometimes she feels like insurance is a scam.
I think that it is a scam. You pay more money for worse care every year.
And then
It's terrible.
Marianne Bitt also said that she's glad to be here watching with a big heart emoji.
Oh, thank you, Marianne. Thanks for watching. We appreciate it. Yeah, very cool. The financial pressure's the thing. Debt. Cost of going to school is going up. Reimbursement for being a doctor's falling. I had that when me and my wife moved here in 2010. We had no money and a ton of debt.
Yeah.
And we were just starting our careers at 35. It's a big, kind of hole to dig out of.
Do you have kids then?
We had a son. My son was 5 or 6 when we moved here.
Whatever that age is.
Yeah. So what are the solutions? I'm not sure there are any good ones, to be honest. Improved reimbursement is one that everyone talks about, and there are lobbyists that are trying to make that a thing. I always see articles about it, and I don't know. I'm not optimistic. Autonomy, that's a tough one. I mean, this kind of push towards corporate medicine is going to be hard to reverse.
Yeah.
I think that one thing people can do is things like concierge medicine. You go outside of insurance where the restraints for why you would be in a corporation are not there anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure, have you guys heard of concierge doctors?
I've heard of it, yeah.
Yeah, you basically pay a fee, right? So you pay, I don't even know how much the fee, $200 a month or something, and you literally can go see the doctor whenever you want. And what they do is they get, 100 of those people at $200 a pop, which is what?
So you have a subscription to doctors?
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's a concierge doc.
That's cool.
It's not a bad, if I was a primary care, that's what I would do for sure. You have to be more customer service if you do that. But that's my whole...
white glove service.
Yeah, totally. You just have to be readily available and,
Do they do house calls and stuff?
They might.
Yeah.
Yeah, they might. So I would do if I was a primary care doctor in a heartbeat. But my industry is all customer service.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm already used to that. So it's like, yeah, I can do that. I can smooch people and
friendly.
Yeah, be friendly and not like a wet blanket. The other thing is if technology can decrease some of the paperwork and bureaucracy. I mean, a lot of like what people are
AI
unhappy
stuff.
is all the paperwork.
Yeah.
And I don't have to deal with it as much because a lot of it is insurance generated. And
They have integrated a lot of AI.
A little bit. It's starting to get there.
Yeah.
It's just not quite, there yet. But
yeah.
So, but yeah, it's kind of scary. I mean, I think in the past, if you went to the doctor, there was just a guarantee that person was, happy. They were going to be extremely sharp, well trained. That's not the case these days. I mean, they're definitely probably not going to be happy, whether or not they're like the brightest of the brights, up for debate, just because people are coming out of medicine. Mm-hmm. So, I don't think it's like a crisis or anything. I do think that American healthcare, the quality, not the system, because the system is a disaster, but the quality is really the best in the world. I mean, nobody goes to, Canada from other countries to go get medical care, right? Everyone comes to the United States, like really rich people in other countries.
Yeah, the stuff since taking all of these graduate school classes, mostly like every class has been about like healthcare.
Yeah.
The system. It's
Yeah,
like
the system
you're
is
never
just-
going to make anybody happy, not everybody or
Right.
all. And even
Yeah.
if you do change something, it's going to blow up before it gets better. That's
Right.
what I've
I feel like
discovered
that too.
after reading all
honestly,
of this stuff.
I mean, I know how healthcare could be fixed.
But it'd ruin the whole foundation of what
Yeah,
we've already
it
built.
would.
So then it would just
Yeah.
like blow up in your face. Everybody would
Yeah,
be mad.
nobody would tolerate it. Is
Yeah.
the thing. I know exactly how to fix healthcare, but no one would tolerate it. You
Yeah.
know? And it's almost an unfixable problem at this
Yeah.
point.
Yep.
I should do a segment one day on how I would fix healthcare. It would probably there would be outrage because
I've
in order
talked
to
to
fix,
ChatGPT about it before.
have you? Mm-hmm. Wow. I could fix the system, but it would like make a lot of people upset.
Yeah.
So, all right, let me recap this one, Trey. Today we were doing a segment on, is your doctor going to quit? Man, I hate to lose a hairstylist. I bet losing a doctor would be the worst. So medicine is changing, and unfortunately not for the better. I've seen it over my career. It's changed quite a bit in the last couple decades. Some of the reasons that doctors are quitting: loss of autonomy. When I was a med student, over 80% of doctors were self-employed. Now it's reversed. Over 80% of doctors are either employed by hospitals or employed by corporations, which creates a lot of paperwork, a lot of bureaucracy, and not a lot of freedom. And so doctors are not liking that. Reimbursements have been cut across the board from Medicare to private insurance year after year, despite costs going up. So the reimbursements, or what doctors get for actually being a doctor, has gone down quite a bit. There's always that risk of malpractice, but that's a little dependent on specialty or where your location is. But all the red tape is just drowning doctors, EMRs, dealing with insurance. And so people are unhappy, and there is going to be a doctor shortage. In the next 10 years, expect to be a shortage of around 125,000 doctors. What does that mean? That means that your time to wait to get into the doctor is going to go up dramatically. You're going to see less doctors and more nurse practitioners and physicians assistants. There's going to be a brain drain. Like, people are going to start to leave medicine. Like, the more experienced docs are going to retire early. So it is a little bit scary thinking about how there could be a actual shortage of doctors in the future. But yeah, it's just a tough problem. I mean, our healthcare system is broken. There's just no other way to say it. It is just a disaster, and I'm not sure it can be fixed. But that's a segment for another day. So, all right, moving on.
For sure.
That was a bummer. I really feel like crap now. I'm not sure I can go on. You may have to do these. Hey, you guys, now we've been doing this show for 3 years now. You know that, right? We just, wait, it was July, is it July 22nd yet?
It is not.
today?
It is the 11th today.
So July 22nd was our first episode. It'll be 3 years, Trey. You've almost been here 3 years.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, it's coming up. What was I saying? Oh, right, because this segment. I was like, why was I talking about that? So we've done this segment. I think this is the third year we've done it. You guys will remember this one. We discuss the current trends in plastic surgery every year. Why? Because the American Society of Plastic Surgeons releases their procedure detailed report every time about this year. And we always go over it because we want to know, what are the trends doing in plastic surgery? Are people sticking with the tried and true? or are they doing other crazy stuff? You guys
Yeah.
got any predictions? You guys are smart. You guys probably could make a good prediction. You don't have to make a prediction. Do you want to make a prediction?
Is it like what kind of plastic surgery? Like
Like what's trending? Like which procedures are trending? Is it non-invasive? Is it surgery?
I think
are things going
non-invasive
up or down?
surgeries are trending.
You think they're improving?
Yeah, like the people like getting fillers and
You're absolutely
all
right.
that crap. Yeah.
I'm going to spoil it, but yes, non-invasive surgery outpaced the growth of surgery.
Yeah.
You're right.
Someone,
What do you got, Trey?
Someone on Facebook, Marianne Beth, she said facelift.
Facelift was static.
It was static.
Yeah, it was static.
Okay.
And you know what's really interesting? Overall, surgery was up 1%. Okay, not a huge amount.
Yeah.
Non-invasives was up 3%. But what's interesting is you would almost expect that it would have been static last year or even down, because last year was a very uncertain economic year. And the election. Things are always down in election years.
Yeah.
So you might have thought in 2024, and we're saying 2025 trends because we just got the data for 2024, which does give us kind of a look into what is trending right now. But last year was a bad year for the economy, and this is definitely a luxury, disposable income type of thing. And so you might have expected that it would have been down, but actually it did go up last year. So that's good for me, I guess, and good for the plastic surgery and med spa.
Someone on YouTube asked, is lipo one of them?
Lipo is absolutely number one.
Oh, wow.
Number one. Yeah, we're going to get there. So the top five. Let's go over the top five. So you guys probably don't remember what the top five were, but I will go ahead and tell you that the top five did not change. Everything that was top five stayed in its exact same position. So number one, liposuction. And that is despite the surge in Ozempic and GLP-1 agonists, which is interesting, right? Because people are losing weight with these GLP-1s. You might think there'd be less liposuction. There was not.
But is there more skin
Yeah.
things?
See, look, you could do this segment. That is exactly correct. Yep, we're gonna get to that. The reason that liposuction, I think, is number one is because it is combined with so many procedures.
Yeah.
I do liposuction with tummy tucks all the time. I do them with thigh lifts. I do them with arm lifts. There's a lot of procedures where you do liposuction, and so that counts as lipo. So number two, you know what it is? You know what it is.
Boob job?
There you go. Breast augmentation, number two. What's interesting is historically, breast augmentation and lipo would flip-flop. For the last 2 or 3 years, breast augmentation has been number two now, so it's steadily number two as opposed to occasionally being number one. Also, just a side note, there was a decrease in interest in large volume implants. I think that some of this is like the changes in body trends. Right now we're in the ballet body. Remember that? Yep. This is the era of the ballet body. It's not the Kardashian era anymore, so ballet bodies are a little bit more petite. So you're not seeing, I think, that's enough, I think, to keep augmentation at number two and not let it kind of creep back up towards number one. Number three, tummy tuck, always insanely popular. Why? Because people are still having babies.
Yep.
And if you have babies, your stomach gets stretched out, you can't fix it in the gym, you need a tummy tuck. Also, you mentioned it, Ozempic. I'm actually seeing, interestingly enough, a kind of surge in men getting tummy tucks, which historically you do not. But
because men, whenever they gain weight, they gain so much visceral fat.
That's right. But what's happening when they take Ozempic? They're losing it.
Yeah.
And then they're getting loose skin on their abdomen, which historically was hard for them to do. So I actually have gotten quite a few consults for tummy tuck for men in the past 6 months to a year.
I saw on a reel on Instagram that this woman, she had the I can't say
diastasis recti. Yeah.
She had that,
diastasis.
and she never got it fixed, and she ended up getting a hernia, and her stomach got huge, and it was just a wad of fat.
So
It
if
was
the
crazy.
diastasis gets really bad, it actually can push through and cause a hernia.
Yep.
Yeah.
She had
Number
it bad.
4, breast lift, always insanely popular. Why? Pregnancy makes your breast sag.
Weight
Ozempic,
loss.
losing weight, makes your breast sag. Number 5, blepharoplasty. Pretty easy, quick procedure that gives good results. I'm not shocked that that's
What
up
does
there.
that mean?
Oh, eyelids, sorry.
Oh.
Sorry, thank you for reminding me, Sarah, because I sometimes forget what's common vernacular.
Yeah.
Common vernacular. I made it funny there. Okay, they did mention the Ozempic effect and the rise in body contouring, which you did mention. Almost 1 million patients alone got GLP-1s from plastic surgeons, which is
Yeah.
a drop in the bucket of the GLP-1 of 40 to 50 million Americans.
Are you starting to
Yeah, we do it. Yeah,
do that?
yeah, let's do the med spa. 20% of GLP-1 or Ozempic patients have already had plastic surgery for loose skin. 40% are considering surgery, like that they haven't had surgery but they're considering it, and 40% are considering non-surgical things.
Yeah.
So the Ozempic effect is real. I've seen a surge in arm lifts, thigh lifts, tummy tucks, like more than average.
Right.
Like the Ozempic thing is definitely affecting.
My sisters. Oh, I need to actually talk to you about my sisters.
Yeah.
She sent me all of this stuff that she went to go see a surgeon about.
Oh,
and she was like,
does she live around
ask
here?
your friend. I mean, no, she lives in Austin.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
yeah,
kind of.
Yeah, just talk to me after. That's cool. Okay, I don't know if you guys remember, but about 6 months ago, what was the first of the year, I made my predictions for trends, right?
Yeah.
And I probably should have gone, I did predict increase in body contouring, so I got that one right. The other thing, I can't remember what all I predicted, but one I predicted was the fall of the BBL. Do you guys remember that? I was like, this is the year that Brazilian butt lift goes down and as opposed to going up.
Yeah, I remember that.
Do you think it happened?
I would say yes.
It did
didn't?
not. It was completely static, meaning like it was within like a dozen cases or something from year to year, which does mean that it's plateauing. You know, I think I was wrong. I think I was off a year. I think next year we're going to start to see the curve go down.
Yeah.
I think Brazilian butt lifts have gotten enough bad press.
One of my family members was talking about how they were like, oh, I need to get a butt like surgery, and I was like,
No.
I had to like tell them.
You're like, wait, I know about
Yeah.
this.
I was like, don't do
hold on, I'm
it.
an expert.
Hold on, watch this.
Yeah. Okay, minimally invasive did outpace surgery, as I mentioned. Botox was up 4%. Fillers were up 1%. Here's the big one. Skin resurfacing, so like lasers, up 6%. So that's like, like the Halo, the Morpheus, all that, up 6%.
You need to make like a commercial, like a little ad, because we were just talking about Austin Powers. Remember that scene, lasers?
Laser beams.
Do you
That is a
remember?
good idea. Yeah, no, I know exactly what you're talking about. I'm thinking in my head I can make it
You
AI
could
do that.
totally do that.
Okay, I have an important one here in the non-invasive category. Everything was up except, this is shocking, non-invasive fat removal. So that's your cool sculpting, your Kybella, and your M sculpt. Now, I've talked about cool sculpting, and I don't like it.
Yeah, you don't like
and
that
I have the machine, and I don't like it. Those things were down 40%. That's insane.
That's because there's the
Bad press?
Ozempic now.
Oh, true that. Yeah, I was thinking that they just don't work that great.
But that too, there's probably
But yeah, you're right, Ozempic. Like people are getting Ozempic instead
because they've realized
Yeah.
probably that they've done everything and then they started taking that drug and it's gone.
There was one thing that I did miss also. I thought that we were going to see a rise in implant removals just because there's so many people out of implants and like people's weights are changing and stuff. That actually stayed static. I thought it was going to go up. And that may be Ozempic related as well, because a lot of why people remove implants is when they get heavy.
I feel like for next year, we're going to see so much more like face surgeries.
Maybe.
Like how that
Facelift
one of the
was
ladies
static,
on the
yeah.
Facebook was talking about face stuff. I just feel like everybody has been messing with their face.
Yeah.
Like we've done so many, we've talked about like Lindsay Lohan,
Right.
like all these
Yeah,
different
totally.
people over the years.
I think
that-
people are doing the non-invasives. Like when you look
Yeah.
at that 6% increase in skin resurfacing, that's laser to your face. That's Morpheus to your face. That's going up big time.
Yeah.
So take away from this, top 5 remain the top. Ozempic effect is real. Non-invasive is popular. Yeah. So it was interesting though. I love to see these. I mean, it's kind of nerding out in your own specialty, right? Seeing like what's hot, what's not. You know, the stuff that's always been popular is still popular. There's been some minor changes. So, all right, recap this one. Okay, today we were talking about plastic surgery 2025 trends, and we get these from the American Society of Plastic Surgeons 2024 procedure report, which comes out about this time every single year. So let me break it down for you. The big 5, which is liposuction, breast augmentation, tummy tuck, breast lift, and eyelid surgery or blepharoplasty, stayed the same. The popular things are still popular. So what changed? Well, there were a few things. There was the surge in Ozempic, and that has an effect. We're seeing an increase and body contouring. Also, plastic surgery overall was up last year, 1%, which is kind of impressive in a bad economic year. But however, the non-invasive stuffs were up 3 to 4%, so a big surge in that. Saw a big drop off in non-invasive fat procedures though because of Ozempic. Brazilian butt lift, which I thought might start to decline this year, actually plateaued, has not started going down, but I think it is probably going to be next year. So some interesting stuff on there. We broke it all down. If you want to see it, go and watch the full segment. All right, I got a fun one. I can't wait for you guys. Don't do it yet, Trey. I was telling Sarah about my super awesome cover photo for this last segment. So before you show it,
Okay.
I want you to imagine an animal with blood pressure twice as high as yours, but never has a stroke, never has heart failure, and has no clogged arteries. Now, imagine lowering your blood pressure just by singing in the car. So, we are doing a segment. Go ahead and unveil it. Giraffes and singing. Secrets to health? Maybe so.
Is it because giraffes are so they're so cute and like
no, it's not looking at the giraffes.
Oh.
It's not looking at.
It's giraffes have low.
Yeah,
blood
giraffes.
pressure.
Did you think like looking at giraffes
Yeah, I
makes
was
your blood
like-
pressure?
I
I mean,
was
it
like-
may lower my. It's like looking at a puppy,
Like if
right?
you go to
Like they're super cute. You want to like go pet
people
it.
are gonna start having like what are those called when you have like a service dog, a service giraffe,
What's the thing when it's like it keeps you from like freaking out? Like
like a
Trey, we're dumb here.
a
Can you help?
service dog, but
No,
like,
not service. There's a name for it. My personal. What's it called when an animal keeps you from freaking out? There's a word for it.
I know what you're talking about.
Emotional support.
That's
animal?
it.
Yeah.
Emotional support. Yeah.
emotional support
Because I remember there was an article about somebody had emotional support.
They're gonna have
peacock.
They're gonna invent mini giraffes.
Oh, dude, I would totally buy a mini giraffe.
They'd be like little llamas.
Like, what if it was just like this tall? How
Yeah.
sick would that be? Can we like do that? Like, can't we?
We
do some
shouldn't.
DNA
We
stuff?
shouldn't do that.
I'm gonna get why?
I feel like that's like just it's messing with stuff. I feel like we shouldn't be allowed to do that.
I mean, but it was super cool to have like a herd of mini giraffes in your yard. That would be sick.
I
No?
guess. But I mean, I wonder if it would mess something up.
It might mess up the yard. I don't know.
What if it messed? What if they made mini giraffes and it like triggered something horrible happening
Like
in
a
the
Jurassic
world?
Park kind of episode.
What if a crazy doctor is watching this? We're like, we can't do it.
We should do it.
It's a sci-fi.
I'm gonna get home tonight. I'm gonna get on AI. I'm gonna ask it how I can make a mini giraffe. Like, do
Oh,
I have to
no.
breed a bunch of really short giraffes, or is it like some sort of genetic gene splicing thing?
I wonder if like how like dwarfism and
Right,
humans.
dwarf giraffes.
Yeah, if there's dwarfism in
But
giraffes.
would it mess up their legs and stuff? I
I don't know.
don't know.
There's a comment on YouTube
Oh.
from Kayla. She says, "I have an emotional support animal,
Yeah,
dog."
a dog.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's a dog. So maybe
well, that's a normal one. That's
yeah,
fine.
Maybe she
But-
can invest in a giraffe.
I mean, yeah, that's normal. I swear to God, someone tried to take an emotional support peacock on an airplane because my wife sent me the article about it. A peacock. It was huge too. That's not a small bird.
That is so crazy.
and it's like feathers going everywhere.
There were so many peacocks in Cancun
Oh,
whenever
really?
I went, like just roaming around,
Yeah.
wild. And I
They're
was
kind
just
of
like,
cool, right?
Yeah,
They make
but
a
they're
weird
like,
noise though.
yeah, but they're also just like, they're bird. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's
they
just
are
like,
bird.
I don't know. That's big. That's a big
It's a big
animal.
bird, yeah,
And then
it's
their feathers
Yeah.
just go
I
everywhere.
like peacocks. I think they're cool. Okay,
They are cool.
I really derailed my whole conversation. Giraffes or giraffes.
That's the logo.
you're speaking
That's our
American-
name for the minis.
Giraffes.
The
Yeah,
giraffes.
Right, the giraffes. Maintain systolic blood pressure 220, 260 to pump blood up their 6 to 7 foot long necks. Now, if you had blood pressure that high, you would be stroking out, falling on the ground, your heart would be failing, and your kidneys would be crawling out of your body and running
I
down
have
the hall.
high blood pressure.
Huh?
I have naturally high blood pressure.
Do you take medication? Mm-mm. Have you looked at giraffes?
No.
Have you tried singing? We're going to get to that one.
I sing all the time in the car.
Oh, that's actually good for you. You're good. Okay, so a new study in the journal Nature mapped the giraffe genome and compared them to other mammals. And they have some specific genetic adaptations that allow them to have this super high blood pressure, but without them getting sick from it, which humans would die if they had blood pressure that high. They had mutations in the FGFRL1 gene. I remember that one from school. To prevent heart wall damage. They have a unique artery structure of the carotid arteries, which has a tight sheath to support it in high pressure situations. They don't get atherosclerosis. They have valves in their jugular veins to prevent blood pressure spikes in their brain. So why is all this important? Well, giraffes genetically have evolved or designed, however you like to believe, to tolerate this really high blood pressure without killing them like it would kill a human. And so researchers, PhD doctors, they're doctors, PhD doctors, researchers think that it might be possible to look at those genetic adaptations and potentially use those in humans. Because what they're thinking is that if they could alter the way our genetics are a bit, then it wouldn't matter if our blood pressure is a little high. Because if our blood pressure is high long enough, it's very, very detrimental. It gives you heart disease, stroke, all those really bad things. Well, giraffes run around with blood pressures way higher than us, and they're fine. Like, they don't have strokes. They don't have heart attacks. So it just would be another modality to keep people healthy. Now, moving on to the next part, singing as a heart medicine. A recent UK study, these are both blood pressure related, that's how they go together, in case you guys haven't figured that out. I did like the picture though, the lady singing to the giraffe. It took me a lot of times to get that lady to sing to that giraffe where I get that picture. It was really hard. So please clap. Yeah, thank you. Okay, recent UK study in the Journal of Hypertension tracked patients with mild hypertension, so mild high blood pressure. They had one group who sang in a choir 45 minutes twice a week for 3 months, and one group that didn't do that. Result, group 1 had an average systolic blood pressure drop 6 to 7 millimeters of mercury compared to the other group, which is comparable to light exercise. Basically, singing drops your blood pressure like you were doing light exercise.
It causes you to inhale. Take big breaths.
That's exactly right.
My blood pressure goes down when I do yoga. Every time. I've measured it.
You just hit 2 of the highlights of why it does it, and I'm going to come back to that, and you're really smart. Some patients had an increase. You're very welcome. Some patients had an increase in stress resilience, which is also good. Decrease in cortisol, which is a stress hormone. Why does it work? Deep diaphragmatic breathing. There you go, Sarah. It decreases your heart rate, increases vagal tone. Rhythmic exhalation, similar to meditation, actuates baroreceptors, which decrease your blood pressure. The emotional release of singing decreases stress hormones. Singing does beat listening to music, which decreases your blood pressure a little bit. Singing is better because it's active, and listening to music is passive. Patients also reported better sleep when they were singing, which is kind of weird, but they did. Maybe they felt...
Well, stress relieving when you go to sleep at night.
Decreased cortisol. You don't have to join a choir, by the way. You can sing in a karaoke bar. You can sing in the shower. You can sing in your car. Dude, I love singing in a car. I'm freaking awesome in a car. Like, really, really good. Like, probably I should be a professional singer in my car.
You're in a band, right?
A band of 1. Sometimes my daughter's the maid. Sometimes a band of 2. So, technically I'm in a band. What's my band's name? I can't remember. Hold on. Oh, Apocalypse Meow. That's right. I had to remember my own band name. I forgot. So what can all this teach us? Well, nature and lifestyle can actually teach us about health more than we thought. So what does the future hold? Well, we could have giraffe-inspired, gene treatments, to make our blood vessels less damaged by high blood pressure. But in the meantime, we can just sing in the shower.
That's nice.
Yeah, very good. All right, I don't think I'm going to recap that one. It's too sporadic.
That was sweet, though. We started with something like,
sad.
Nothing's ever going to change.
We're all doomed to, hey, plastic surgery's cool. And then we talked about miniature giraffes, which I'm totally going to get on board with. I think we should do it. We could open up our own miniature giraffe store. Farm.
Yeah.
I just know how to make the giraffes miniature. Trey, any ideas?
Trey, you would know.
I have a desk mate in here who looked up dwarf giraffes.
Okay, how big is a dwarf giraffe?
I think, what she said, 9 feet?
9 feet? No.
9 feet.
I need like 3 feet.
And there's only 2 in the world is what I've heard. So
I think we should make it as big as the biggest dog, Yeah.
A Great Dane.
A Great Dane.
I think there's dogs that are bigger than Great Danes.
I think the smaller they are, the better. Like, no one's gonna buy a 9-foot tall giraffe. That's just like a regular giraffe. I would think that was a regular. I don't know how tall a giraffe's supposed to be.
I think they way taller than 9 feet. I would assume.
They
I would
look
assume
like-
so because it said their neck is 6 to 7 feet
They're
long,
like
and I know their feet, I know their
dinosaur
legs
looking.
aren't 2 feet long.
I think-
so. They're probably
15
like
to 20 feet is what our research department, aka Danica, said.
the research department. So I want like a 3 foot tall giraffe. How do I make that happen? Like obviously,
I don't know. You're the doctor.
I mean they make miniature dogs. How do they make a miniature Doberman? Let's
You
just
have to put it in
do
AI
that.
and then get a hologram of the AI 3-foot giraffe.
No, we're making real 3, and we're calling them
A
giraffes.
real- a
Giraffe.
Giraffes, because they're made by genetics.
Giraffes. All right.
Somebody also said on YouTube that Apocalypse Meow definitely needs that on a t-shirt.
I am gonna make my own shirt. I actually,
It's pretty cute.
I made the design, so that I'm not gonna give away my first design to anyone who might be listening. So the first design is a cute little kitten sitting, and it's got its paw on just like a button, and then there's a wire that goes way back into the horizon, and there's a nuclear explosion.
Oh, that's cute.
Apocalypse Meow. First album coming soon. All right, I think that's all the time we have for today. Please leave us a comment. Please like and subscribe. Let us know what you want us to talk about on the next episode of Nip Talk. Bye.
Bye.